Realizing one's true nature is often described as a challenging task, but in reality, it is quite simple and straightforward. The truth is uncomplicated, but the search for it is difficult. We have been oblivious to the obvious because we have been placing an excessive amount of weight on what rises and falls on the inside of our being. This would be like to simply witnessing the waves and missing out on the ocean itself. Self-reflection is the key to unlocking the door to the truth. What had been kept secret is quickly brought to light. What is authentic is brought to light. We see what we are attached to, regardless of whether or not there is reluctance to change. And we find the hideouts of false identity because its effect is so immediate that it brings all that is unreal to the surface quickly. What need is there to advocate for laborious practices that take such a long time, where the truth is always accessible in the form of our very own selves? All that is asked of us is to acknowledge our own position as the supreme witness. Even though one is in the present, and even when one is in the midst of the joy and liberation of self-realization, there is still a gentle attentiveness or vigilance to the many plans of the psychological mind. Therefore, if something were to come along that seemed to veil our genuine essence, it would be very easy to pick up on. Any deception, craftiness, or cunning used in evasion will be exposed and eradicated as quickly as possible. You will have an understanding of what is genuine and enduring, and you will be able to differentiate the timeless essence of some things from the fleeting nature of others. Self-examination can also be considered a form of practice. In the beginning in particular, you will need to have steady drive, commitment, and a sense of responsibility to yourself. Nevertheless, such practice is not experienced as a burden, but rather as a tool to maintain the vibrancy of your witnessing. And even if we start to look at our beliefs about ourselves in a more in-depth manner, and as a result reach the point where we see that they are not true, we nevertheless, for some reason, remain persuaded that we are the person that we consider ourselves to be at that particular point in time. Despite the fact that we are aware of the fluid and ephemeral character of our identities, we frequently continue to identify with the mind, which rummages about in the time-bound realm, evaluating the past in an effort to be better prepared for the future. The first step towards onness is the most basic step. Being in your natural condition can be experienced by anyone, regardless of their spiritual or religious upbringing. You can be content just to exist in the experience of not belonging to any particular mental image or thought, time or form. If you continue acting in this manner, it will ultimately become second nature. The quality of being present, everyone has an innate awareness that they are, or that they exist. You didn't need someone to instruct you on this at all. When this sense of who I am merges with other states or concepts, or becomes related with them, it is as if those states form a part of who I am. However, these things are not unique to who we are. When we are young, we are exposed to a lot of information that isn't true about the world, about life, and about exactly who we are as people living life. We form the fundamental belief that I am the body quite early on in our lives. After we have come to terms with the idea that I am the body is fundamental to who we are, other concepts can then be layered atop it, resulting in the development of a singular psychological identity. The majority of the time we act as if this identity is an established truth, despite the fact that the views we've picked up along the way aren't innate to us. We have a fixed self-conception from early childhood to old age, that we are a unique physical being with a distinctive identity. If we take the view that our sense of self stems from our personhood, then we recognize that we are one of many unique beings and objects in the cosmos. But the things that we consider to be a part of ourselves, our bodies, our minds, and our feelings are not really what we are at our core. Everything that you are able to sense, including your own body, is always changing. You are the one observing things like time and objects, and even mental states and feelings. You are able to view everything that is considered to be life, manifestation, or existence through your senses, and hidden from view in the world of the mind, where thoughts, feelings, and memories are stored. These things are perceived by the eyes of inner perception. Your unique sense of identity as a person can also be picked up by others. Whether the object of perception is abstract, such as an idea, sentiment, or sensation, or concrete, such as a color, form, or size, all objects that are perceived are phenomena. I am the one who perceives them through my own senses. To begin, I have to be there. The non-dual wisdom of Advaita encourages you to investigate on your own what height actually is, regardless of whether or not it corresponds to what you presume or imagine it to be. The vast majority of individuals have a robust awareness of their own uniqueness, as well as the conviction that they are the sole architects of their own experiences and are most conversant with their very own worlds. That might be true to some extent, but it's just a smaller version of the bigger truth. The basic truth is that you, as consciousness, are holding the mental picture of yourself as a sentient entity with an existence and an awareness. Another way of putting this is to say that the idea that we are who we think we are is an outgrowth of consciousness itself. No, you don't, since the issues that arise from the mind cannot be resolved on the level of the mind. Once you have an understanding of the fundamental dysfunction, there isn't all that much more that you need to learn or grasp about the situation. You already have an understanding of the fundamental workings of the unconscious state's affiliation with the mind, which results in the formation of a false self, the ego, to stand in for your genuine self, which is anchored in existence. Ego needs are insatiable. The ego is always worried about being hurt or losing its power, thus it never stops wanting. Once you understand how the fundamental disorder functions, there is no need to investigate all of the myriad ways in which it manifests. There is also no need to turn it into a complicated personal issue. The ego, of course, enjoys the fact that it is always looking for something to attach itself to in order to uphold and reinforce its illusory sense of self. And it will quickly attach itself to your issues in order to accomplish these goals. This is the reason why, for a great number of people, a significant portion of their sense of self is closely associated with the difficulties that they face. After anything like this has taken place, the last thing they want is to be free of them, because doing so would mean losing themselves. There is a potential for a significant amount of unconscious ego investment in one's state of misery. Therefore, once you realize that the source of unconsciousness is identification with the mind, which of course includes the emotions, you step out of it and you become present in the here and now. When you are present, you are able to let the mind be as it is without becoming caught up in it or trying to change it. When you look for yourself within your mind and mistake it for who you are, dysfunction sets in. Your mind then becomes the egoic mind, and it takes control of every aspect of your existence.